Broadcasting live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM, the Fan Studio. Steve Sparky Fifer with you out here at Camp Bar, 3rd Ward. Come on out, say hi. Again, the atmosphere in here is amazing, right? You got the Christmas lights up everywhere. You feel like you're in a log cabin or something in the North Woods. It's a very, very cool concept. And again, great food, great drinks. Peacock's out here. I think you had pizza. What'd you have? Pepperoni pizza earlier? Yeah, chowing down some pepperoni pizza. I like to, our family calls it Pizza Friday. We always go out somewhere different every Friday for pizza. So if you're looking for somewhere to do that, this is your place as well. We're out here because of Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Plus, each Sun Cruiser is only 100 calories and 4.5% alcohol, making it perfect for anywhere you want to watch the game at. Crack one open today and let the good times cruise here in Milwaukee. All right, let's get to our green and gold update. I gotta love my guy Q over here in the dugout YouTube chat. Who hates the MJ Bulls? Get out of here, Sparky. The NBA dies without MJ. Screw MJ. Screw him all the way around every single time. And I'll make you even more mad. Dude, I got a team basketball, well, my dad does. A team basketball signed by the Jordan Bulls. Jordan, Pippen, all those guys. My dad worked in a car dealership in Skokie, Illinois back in the day. So like Ryan Sandberg was in there, Scott Sanderson, Bulls, Walter Payton was in there, all these dudes. Like he got to meet all these guys. So it was a whole big deal. But no, absolutely not. And on top of that, I've been at the draft combine with Michael Jordan and watching guys work out and everything else. In fact, one year, Charlie, I brought my intern with me and we flew to Orlando and went to the NBA draft camp in Orlando at the Wide World of Sports complex at what was called the Milk Jug House or the Milk House or whatever it was back in the day. And that was wild, right? So you're there, you get done watching the workouts and everything else, and it's all the GMs, all the coaches, all the scouts, everybody in the NBA is there, and then all the media. And you come walking out, and you've got like Jordan on the side helping Kevin McHale with his golf swing. Like behind him. No, you have to do this. And he's working with them over here on the side. And Dominique Wilkins and Isaiah Thomas. Nobody talked to Isaiah Thomas. Never. Every year I went, nobody ever talked to that dude. But you had all of these guys that used to play in the league that are now Kiki Vandeweghe, guys that were then executives at that time. It was one of the coolest experiences I've had doing what I do, is going to the NBA draft combine. NFL draft combine, also cool, but not as many of the, I watched him play when I was growing up. That guy's in the Hall of Fame, right? A lot more Goody Kuntz guys. Like back when I used to go down there to do it, it was at the RCA Dome. And we had, was it RCA Dome or Lucas? Maybe it was Lucas. I don't remember. But anyways, we were there. And Ted Thompson, who never did interviews, never did anything of the sort, sat down, did a half hour with me in the concourse. Because back then, Charlie, it was me and one station from Houston. That was it. There were no other radio stations covering the combine other than me and some station from Houston. And Mike Clemens, who was our green and gold insider back then, he was with me. And we had guys on the whole time. Mike Martz was on, Ted Thompson. I literally could have anybody I wanted because there's no competition. Now you go to this thing, and it's like a radio row, like you're going to a Super Bowl or something. It's insanity. Now, it doesn't really make a whole bunch of sense for smaller stations to go down there necessarily. Green and gold update time brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And don't forget, if you're going there to watch the games, and again, think about it, 2,000 square foot screen, 30 different teams at one time, Potawatomi Sportsbook. You've got the all-day brunch. You've got 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade desserts and pastries, right? Go down there, watch your college football games, your pro football games. Maybe you're going to go watch the Crew down there tonight. Reserve ahead of time. We are now in that part of the season where that place gets nuts for college and pro football. This is the time of year where it gets really crazy. So reserve online. Go to potawatomi.com/sportsbook to reserve your spot. And again, they've got tabletops. They have these huge booths that hold like 8 to 10 people. They've got regular single, like kind of recliner chairs that you can get into as well. There is a nominal fee. Have no fear. That goes towards your food and beverage costs for the night. So really, it all works out at the end. All right, Tucker Kraft yesterday after the game, we played some of his audio after the game on the Green Bay Football postgame show last night after the Packers took out the Commanders to improve to 2-0. Tucker Kraft gets his first game over 100 yards. It was amazing. Then Tucker Kraft said this, and I can't wait to hear what you all have to say.
Yeah, I mean, teams come in here and they have such an emphasis on stopping number 8.
Yeah.
They think that the key to beating the Green Bay Packers is by stopping Josh, and that's a credit to him and all the work he's put in. He is such influential back in the NFL. So teams keying him, it just opens up opportunities for everybody else. As a receiver, I hope teams keep coming in with that mindset and that game plan. But those plays will come for Josh. He's on the cusp of another great season.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. You just paid some dude $55 million a year, man. You didn't pay him $5 million a year. You paid this dude a lot of money to be the future of your franchise at the most important position in pro sports, which is the quarterback of an NFL football team. That's how much you paid him. You paid him like he's a legitimate star-type player. Okay. Now you have Tucker Kraft after the team gets off to 2-0 start. And Tucker Kraft says, hey, man, they designed schemes to stop our running back. Not the quarterback. They designed schemes to stop the running back. I know I brought this up last night to Tommy. I was like, doesn't that seem kind of wild, kind of bizarre? Like, you're facing the Kansas City Chiefs. You're trying to stop Patrick Mahomes. You're facing the Packers with Brett Favre. It's about stopping 4. You're facing Aaron Rodgers. It's about stopping 12. I had never heard anybody ever talk about, got to stop Dorsey Levens. That's the key to today's game. Got to stop Edgar Bennett. Otherwise, we're going to lose this game. Got to stop A.J. Dillon. Got to stop Eddie Lacy. No.
Is Josh Jacobs any of those guys in your mind?
What did you say?
Is Josh Jacobs any of those guys in your mind? He's obviously better than almost all those running backs
you
named. Probably all those running backs you named, actually.
Fair enough. I'm just saying, again, my time as a fan, right, watching this, like, you pay all that money for a Hall of Famer and Brett Favre. It's about stopping Brett when you come in to play the Packers. You pay all that money for Aaron Rodgers. It's about stopping the quarterback. I mean, how many guys can you think of right now that are Hall of Fame type players where it's not about stopping them? Maybe, and I'm telling you maybe, and I don't even know this to be true, maybe Lamar Jackson and then Derrick Henry. Maybe, your game plan to stop Derrick Henry more than Lamar Jackson, because Jalen Hurts isn't that guy at quarterback. We all know this, right? So he ain't that guy. So it is about Saquon. Fine, I'm with you there. But this situation here for the Packers, you already have those people that doubt Jordan Love, that question how good Jordan Love can be. Even though he's played well the first 2 weeks, you still have doubters. Now your tight end is saying they line up to stop our running back more than they line up to stop our quarterback. That's a little surprising if I'm being honest, Charlie.
I wouldn't say it's that surprising. Josh Jacobs is the best player on this offense. Going into the season, I thought that was the case too. It hasn't changed. And I think that Jordan Love, when the Packers paid him, they didn't pay him because he already is an elite Hall of Fame level quarterback. They paid him because they expect him to at least take that step into getting to that type of player. And I think a lot of people are kind of misconstruing that. And I thought it was a bad idea when they paid him that much money to do that, because that's basically you guaranteeing that he is going to end up being that type of player. And I didn't like that very much. But the reality is that they paid him to be that eventually. And if he's not that right now, there needs to be another player that is going to take up the reins of that. And that's why you signed to Josh Jacobs, because you as the Green Bay Packers want him to be the focal point of this offense, because you as the Green Bay Packers know that Jordan Love can do it. And if Josh Jacobs is going to take the brunt of that defensive focus, that helps Jordan Love out a lot to get to that point of potentially being that level of quarterback that we expect him to be. Josh Jacobs is that good of a player. None of those players you named before for those Packers running backs had that level of talent. But there are teams that have strong running back groups that could have a potential Hall of Fame level quarterback, or at least an all-pro, Pro Bowl level quarterback, that do focus their game on that run. Again, you mentioned the Eagles before with Saquon Barkley. I think you look at teams in the past and the Chargers with LaDainian Tomlinson. Yeah, you had a younger Drew Brees, but there's a couple of years of Phillip Rivers there. And Phillip Rivers is that borderline Hall of Fame level quarterback.
Yeah.
And the focus was on an LT. I think you can win games that way, and you can be a championship level team that way. It's just a different style. And because it hasn't been seen in Green Bay, doesn't mean it's not right.
He is Charlie Houston, C Sparky Fifer with you out here at Camp Bar. Make sure to check them out on Instagram and make sure to follow them on Instagram as well. Here in the 3rd Ward, great food, great drink specials going on. And make sure to check out Sun Cruiser vodka iced tea as well. I'm going to circle back around to this conversation that we're having right now involving Jordan Love versus Josh Jacobs, right? So if Jordan Love were to go down for an extended period of time, how good would this team really be at the end of the year? I literally was having this conversation with my father the other day because he loves Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis should be starting. Okay, you're nuts. But either way, so that's who he's all about. But my point on this is Malik Willis hasn't lost, right? I mean, he what 2.5 games, whatever it was last year. And this goes back to the point of maybe it is more about Josh Jacobs. I mean, could this team be a playoff team if Malik Willis was the starting quarterback and it wasn't Jordan Love and Jordan Love was out on the sidelines and this was all about Malik Willis at quarterback? Because I'll be honest with you, yesterday, 2 days ago when we were having this conversation, I was like, they might win 6 games. There's no chance this is a playoff team if Jordan Love isn't the quarterback of this team right now. But then I hear this stuff from Tucker Kraft last night. Now I got myself second guessing.
I would like to remind you that the 2 games that we saw Malik Willis start last season were against the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. Neither one of those.
Yes, the Colts who just killed the Dolphins, by the way.
But as you also said, you don't believe that's what the Colts are. And that's not what they were last season either. They were not a very good football team that Malik Willis went in there and was able to be a game manager. I still fully believe that if you look at that schedule last year, you don't win every single game that you still won with Malik Willis instead of Jordan Love in that starting lineup. I don't think you go out and you beat Los Angeles with Malik Willis starting that game. I don't think you go out and you really honestly beat Jacksonville in that end of the game where Brandon McManus hit that field goal without Jordan Love in that game. I think you look at some of the later games in the season. Chicago, that first game against Chicago, I don't think Malik Willis wins you that game with how that game played out. We have to look at Jordan Love and say, again, that this contract that he got and the expectations that we have for him have to be spread out over a few years because that's how the Packers have set up this plan for him. And whether you like it or not, that's how it's going to be. And Josh Jacobs is going to be that focus. And I don't think that means that just anybody can step into Jordan Love's shoes because they've built this team around Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs is a focal point, but it's still in the mind that, again, it's getting Jordan Love ready. It's not because, it's Josh Jacobs' team. It's still Jordan Love's team with Josh Jacobs taking the lead right now and Jordan Love learning. And I think that's still okay. It's not Josh Jacobs. It's still Jordan Love's team.
The other part about this, too, is when we started talking about whose team it is, and we talked about this yesterday, that first training camp practice, Matt LaFleur is in the huddle. He's got everybody around him, says what he's got to say, says the schedule for the rest of the day, and then he pops out. And normally, he tells somebody to break it down. He pops out to see what happens. Jordan Love immediately takes over the huddle and kind of takes control. And I think that's exactly what you want to happen with your star quarterback, to be that player. And at the end of the day, if Jordan Love had a true number one option, if he had Devontae Adams, if he had A.J. Brown or something like that, do you think that would change how guys would game plan the Packers versus not worrying about them not having a number one wide receiver, but definitely having a number one running back?
Probably a little bit. I think that would also speed up Jordan Love's development a little bit, having a receiver like that. But again, that's just not the game plan that the Packers went into this with. I think they went in with the mindset that you can pay a star running back a lot cheaper than you can a star wide receiver at some point here. And that if you go with this approach of long playing your quarterback progression and getting him more comfortable within the system and then exploding the system around him when you're ready, I think that makes more sense for what this Packers team's plan is usually around these types of players. And if you go out and get a wide receiver, you're fast tracking that plan to the point where you may speed right off a cliff. I think you kind of saw that in Miami when they went and got a Tyreek Hill for a Tua Tagovailoa, and you can kind of see how quickly that offense exploded. And now all of a sudden it's hit a wall because you have nowhere else to go. I think the Packers are running this game plan correctly around a player like Jordan Love. And yes, getting a wide receiver does change the game plan for other defenses. A star wide receiver, like going out and trading for a DK Metcalf or going out and making a trade for a Tyreek Hill like we had mentioned earlier in the offseason. These are all things that, yes, can help Jordan Love and can change the game plan, but I don't know if that's really the smartest play right now.
Yes, Charlie Hughes C. Sparky Fifer with you out here at Camp Bar in the 3rd Ward. Love to see you come on out here. Again, out here until 7 o'clock, kind of. I'm out here to 5:30. Then the big old hunk of love, Tommy Wirtz, will be out here from 5:30 to 7. Looking forward to seeing Tommy Wirtz out here as we get ready for the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get you ready for game number 1, Brewers and Cardinals at American Family Field. On the mound tonight is Mr. Quinn Priester, and looking forward to seeing another good effort from him coming up this evening. Up next, fantasy football is straight ahead every Friday at 4:20. We do fantasy football with our guy Joe Bartel from RotoWire Fantasy Sports. That's coming up. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for your fan weather forecast, brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 71 degrees, fair skies right now, fair skies for the rest of the evening, and a low of 63. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Camp Bar, 3rd Ward. Come hang out. Christmas lights, deer heads, all kinds of cool stuff. You feel like you're in a cabin in the North Woods. Great food, great drink specials. And, of course, you got to try a Sun Cruiser while you're out here as well. Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. And, of course, check us out on YouTube. We are streaming live all of our local shows. Make sure to check out the videos, all the shorts that are put up. Tommy Wirtz, Charlie Houston do a great job of doing that and producing that up each and every day. Appreciate the support there. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Time to get to some fantasy football with our guy, Joe Bartel of RotoWire. Follow him on Twitter at JB Fantasy Sports. If you have any questions on your fantasy football lineup coming up this weekend, now is your time to hop aboard and do that, whether it be the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all there too, at The Fan Milwaukee. Or you can just hop into the chat section here, the Dugout chat on YouTube. Ask your questions there. We can pass them along to Joe Bartel. Joe, thanks for coming on this afternoon here on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law.
Oh, yeah, happy to be on. Thanks for including me this week.
All right, man. So I think you being a Packer fan and you being a Wisconsin guy, I think you were well aware of how good Tucker Kraft was. Do you think a lot of people stole Tucker Kraft in fantasy football drafts coming into this season?
Yeah, stole's a great way to put it, because you're right. I think the fantasy community actually was interested in Tucker Kraft as like, hey, he could be a week in and week out starter for you. Not, oh, he could win you leagues, which is what we saw certainly last night in that dominant win over the Commanders. Even week one, I thought Kraft was obviously involved in that offense, which was excellent to see. And if you're to say which one Packer will be the most consistent fantasy option throughout the rest of the season, I think you have to answer Tucker Kraft. The way he's able to shed tacklers, find space, but I really just think become sort of a comfort blanket for Jordan Love, it has me really encouraged from a fantasy perspective. So stole is probably not the right answer because people knew about Tucker Kraft and were valuing him like that. But to say he's in the same vein as Trey McBride or Brock Bowers or even George Kittle before going on injured reserve in week one, that would have been a pretty crazy statement. I don't know if it's that crazy to say now after 2 weeks.
No, I definitely had him in that before the season started. There was no question in my mind he was going to be in that category. But the question I had, which is the same question I still have, which is, okay, fine. He got over 100 yards yesterday, which is wonderful. But how many more times this year do you think he actually gets over 100 yards based on how this offense is set up to run week to week where it changes constantly?
Yeah, I think that's the bigger issue for me as well, too, and why I won't put him in that same tier of McBride and Bowers, both as a talent but as a fantasy guy as well, too. If you're scoring touchdowns every week, especially for the tight end fantasy position, that's a win. But we all know that it doesn't just always work like that. You can have Robert Tonyan be a 10-touchdown guy one year and then basically score 4 the rest of his career. It's hard to score touchdowns at the level, and you could still be an elite player when you don't go ahead and do that. So that's my reservation as well. Now, if Jordan Love keeps playing the way he has the past 2 weeks, and if there still is a vacuum of sorts in terms of how many targets a specific individual on that offense gets, which we know to be with Matt LaFleur, I would be very comfortable saying Tucker Kraft is still the most fantasy relevant guy and one that you're starting every week, just not at that elite level of the Trey McBrides and Brock Bowers.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Josh Jacobs now. 10 consecutive games with the touchdown so far for Josh Jacobs. His yards per carry, wasn't over 4 yards. Didn't have any big runs. Still respectable, though, right? I think he had like 14 points or something like that in fantasy last night with about 87 yards on the ground overall. I think that's that rock, that steady guy that you have going forward. I saw last night on Twitter, I forgot who it was, but somebody made the comparison that said that Josh Jacobs is the Packers version of Marshawn Lynch as far as what he provides and who he is for this Packers football team.
Oh, I actually don't know if that gives enough credit to Josh Jacobs. As a pass blocker, I think he can be a really good receiving back in a pinch as well. It's just if you're going to play a running back, let's just say 75% of the snaps, if you can give him a breather and have guys like Chris Brooks or Emmanuel Wilson just do that pass catching function for, 15, 20% of the game, you would do that as opposed to taking out Josh Jacobs as a runner and putting in the guys in that spot. So I agree with you with the Marshawn Lynch comparison is what it is, but like Jacobs to this offense, getting the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, not like Ryan Grant though, where you're actually pushing forward and making guys miss to get there. I think that actually is critical. And to your point, under 4 yards to carry, 2 offensive line starters missing in that Thursday win. There will be times where defenses, and I thought this was really evident against the Lions that first half, where defenses will enter saying we have to stop the run. And when Jordan Love continues to play like he has these past 2 weeks, you can't enter with that anymore. And if that's the case, then Josh Jacobs is going to be a factor. So I don't want to say if there's a buy low opportunity now from a fantasy game, we're talking in Packer country, that probably is not. If there's a buy low opportunity to get Josh Jacobs on your team, there are going to be better days to come because defenses can't continue to just load up to stop the run, not with the way Love has been playing.
All right, let's get to a couple of guys I have questions on going into this thing. Again, if you have questions, you can hop aboard as well. Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Tweet us as well at The Fan Milwaukee. Never in my wildest dreams that I think I'd be asking you whether or not we should start Drake May, but considering how crappy the Dolphins looked against the Colts last week, is that really a possibility?
Yeah, Daniel Jones was fantasy quarterback 3, and he was drafted as like fantasy quarterback 30. At various points throughout draft season. You're right. I think that's a fair question. I actually put together a love-hate video this week, and I had Drake May as the quarterback 13, which is right on the fringe of quarterback 1 territory. A guy like Bo Nix, for example, ironically going against the Colts this week, I would rather play Drake May over Bo Nix, for example, or even Kyler Murray, who I have indifferences in terms of if he's actually a real life good quarterback. And fantasy-wise, he's been pretty good. May is at a good spot where I think they'll probably not throw for 300 passing yards or close to it like they did week 1, but May can be an athletic runner. And you're right. I mean, the Dolphins, if we're going to overreact to anything week 1, I just think this could be one of the worst teams based on the vibes alone throughout all of training camp and certainly off week 1. This could be a really bad Dolphins team until Mike McDaniel's inevitably fired. So I don't mind playing Drake May. It would just depend on one of the other options out there.
All right, let's go to the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line. Jim and Racine has a question for Joe Bartel, RotoWire Fantasy Sports. What's your question, Jim?
Hi, guys. Non-PPR wide receiver, have to start 2 of the 4. I have Evans, Hill, Pickens, and Metcalf.
Evans, Hill, Pickens, and Metcalf. I think Pickens is the odd one out, at least of that group. I'll play Metcalf over Hill. I mean, I'm at that point right now. We just talked about the bad vibes in Miami. I think you play Mike Evans, and I think you play Metcalf. I'll be very curious. And he has to score, obviously, in a non-PPR league. That's part of the gist, and if you guess correctly on that. But, boy, I think the volume is going to be there for Metcalf, certainly, and I think Mike Evans is always a touchdown threat.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. You betcha. There he is, Jim and Racine. You can do it just like that. It's pretty simple. And you get your question answered by Joe Bartel. Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Another guy, I know there were some people high on. I wasn't high on him. I know he looked pretty good. Justin Fields. How much are you buying Justin Fields?
Yeah, I mean, I understand we have watched enough Justin Fields over our lives here in Wisconsin to say he is not a good quarterback, but my goodness, fantasy-wise, he is near the top and has been. Even when he was with the Bears, that was not good quarterback play at all, but he was a fantasy-relevant quarterback every single week. He's quarterback 7 for me. So I'm pretty much starting him over a lot of other scenarios. I would have probably, prior to Thursday, thought about Fields over Love just outright. Of course, Love proves me wrong with that excellent game against the Commanders, but the Bills' defense allowed a lot of opportunity for Lamar Jackson to run around, not just in designed runs, but certainly just kind of escaping outside of the pocket and things like that. So if Fields gives you, let's just say 5 fantasy points rushing, which would be 50 yards typically, all he needs to do is throw for about 200 passing yards, and you're getting just a base level of quarterback play without any touchdowns happening. And if Fields is throwing for 200 yards and 50 rushing yards, there will be touchdowns, whether he's like the directly resulting that or not. So I think he has to be in play. It was a reminder last week against the Steelers that despite what would have been a tough defense, Fields still plays really well. So, yeah, he's quarterback 7 for me.
Yeah, the quarterback position is really an interesting one because last night, for example, Jaden Daniels, I know how good the Packers looked there in week 1 defensively, but if you drafted Jaden Daniels, you're starting Jaden Daniels every week regardless at this point, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he ended up doing okay. I think he had about 20 fantasy points in typical leagues, which is okay. When you were drafting any of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, even Joe Burrow, the reason you draft them as high as you do isn't just to get consistent production at that position. It's that you'll never have to roster another quarterback until a bye week. Like there is value from a roster build perspective to say, I have an elite guy. If he has a bad week, okay, well, I was going to lose anyway. I have an elite guy. I can do other things. So, yeah, you're playing every one of those 5. I think I would include Burrow in that mix. Every one of those 5, no matter what, every single week.
What about Trevion Henderson? This is a guy that I think a lot of people had high hopes for, the rookie running back. He had a nice week, obviously, last week against the Raiders. This week, again, back to that crappy Dolphins team he gets to face.
Yeah, and I'll push back on the idea that it was a nice week. He played well. He didn't get a lot of volume, which has been my whole issue with this Travion Henderson hype, which really happened after the kick return touchdown in the preseason. And in week 2 preseason, he scores like an 8-yard run. I loved Travion Henderson as a player. We were at the draft. I met you there. We did the show. But I did the draft process throughout all of it leading up to it. And at RotoWire, I had Henderson as my running back 3. And I was like neck and neck with the bar in Hampton. Like, I am the Travion Henderson guy. But the concept of, Henderson, which was happening at the end of August drafts, is just going to get all the volume. Ramondre Stevenson's a bum. Antonio Gibson won't do anything. That's not at all what Josh McDaniels as a coordinator or a head coach for the Raiders ever did. And I don't know why people thought otherwise. So if Henderson gets 12 touches as a runner and as a receiver, that's probably what he maxed out in this offense. Against the Dolphins, he probably can do a whole lot with 12 touches. But it's not like he's going to get 20 or 25, which I think people were just kind of assuming or wish casting because he's a rookie. So you are not making that mistake, but others were. And I don't want people to get misconstrued with the idea that here's a good player against a bad defense. Oh, he's going to have this crazy week. Volume matters, and Travion Henderson is not going to see volume throughout much of the season.
What about the situation going on in Minnesota? They bring in Jordan Mason from the Niners. They still have Aaron Jones. Are you buying both of those backs in fantasy football right now? And who would you buy more than the other?
Yeah, that's a great question. The wheel route touchdown that really set J.J. McCarthy off in that win over the Bears was a perfect, Aaron Jones play that we have watched as Packer fans for a long time, and we know that he's capable of doing it. It feels like the national media never wants to acknowledge that, but that's the great part of Aaron Jones as a player. I thought Jordan Mason looked easily the better runner. There was times, especially with the dreadlocks and the numbers, I was like, oh, is that Aaron Jones? Oh, no, it's Jordan Mason. Wow, my goodness. He looks electric. If you can have that sort of compliment that Jordan Mason looks like Aaron Jones, the runner, that says a whole lot. And against the Falcons this week, I think it's an opportunity for a lot of offense overall for Minnesota. And if that is the scenario, I think Jordan Mason punches one in. So he's kind of on the fringe of running back 2. Let's just say, I don't know, running back 28 or so. You'd play him over Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet and Trey Benson. But I don't know if you play Jordan Mason over Jalen Warren, for example, who is kind of taking a stranglehold in that backfield for the Steelers. It's right on that fringe, and I think Jordan Mason looked really good. Not to discount it all from Aaron Jones, but I want the guy that looks like a ball carrier when he is out there week to week.
I got another one for you. I got 2 on the Falcons to start off with here, okay? The first on the Falcons is, should we buy Kyle Pitts after week 1? Now, this is something Penix talked about in the offseason, that he was going to get Pitts more involved. Something the coaching staff has talked about as well. But Pitts has been a big old tease for a majority of his career and ends up letting everybody down at the end of the day. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I think that's the key part of this. Nobody over the course of the last 3 years has wanted to hear any more siren songs about Kyle Pitts in the offseason. We have been told this tale and lied to every single time, so that he ends up getting a decent amount of volume week 1. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something here. I contend with this that if Michael Penix is going to throw, let's just say 35, 40 times a game, which by all accounts it seems like the Falcons want to do last year and did here in week 1, then it can't just be Drake London getting 20 targets or Darnell Mooney, now healthy, getting 15. There has to be a third guy. Maybe it's Bijan Robinson, but I think Kyle Pitts had to sort of elevate in that role. Now, to be clear, there was a point very closely where Kyle Pitts and Tucker Kraft were going close to each other in fantasy drafts. And you just talked about it at the top of the segment. Kraft is obviously the better player. So the issue is that most of these other tight ends, let's say Jawan Johnson or Harold Fannin, who are popular waiver wire pickups this week, or even Noah Fant for the Bengals, I like them equally, and I haven't been hurt by them as much as I have with Kyle Pitts. So we could acknowledge that this is great that he's getting the volume, but we also have to understand that we're talking about tight end 12 or 14 or 16, and there will be some weeks I'm just going to like some players more than Kyle Pitts, despite what was a really good week 1 for him.
Now, the other one that I want to know about is Michael Penix Jr. This is a personal question. I'm being selfish. I have Jared Goff in my fantasy league. I started Jared Goff last week, and now this week I'm considering starting Penix over Jared Goff because I don't feel Jared Goff is a guy that you have to start every week. I think in most cases I probably would, but I'm intrigued by Penix, not only for the throwing but the running aspect as well. How do you view that matchup this week?
Yeah, you're right. The running aspect is, I think, the kind of the balanced part of this. We're in a stadium in Detroit with Jared Goff, and I know it's the Ben Johnson homecoming in Detroit, but I would also argue it's the Lions trying to tell a lot of people that matter no, we can do this without Ben Johnson too. The Bears defense is good. It's not necessarily formidable. And I was impressed with the Packers defense week 1. I also thought the Lions weren't really like operating the same way that we have seen in the past couple of years. The big difference in my mind is Ben Johnson from the equation. So maybe this will be better for Morton, their offensive coordinator, as the year progresses, but not a great showing for him, and the lack of explosive plays that I felt like were just always evident for the offense last year. To the Michael Penix part of this is the only issue I have. I really think let's just go like Matt LaFleur is a top 5 offensive coach in the league. I think that's a very easy statement, and we certainly here to make that. Brian Flores to me is a top 5 defensive coach. And especially against a young quarterback like Michael Penix, I get really, really worried with this extra attention drawn to the McCarthy factor of it overall being a primetime game. I get a little bit worried that Michael Penix will specifically struggle in this scenario. Now, what might save you from a fantasy perspective is just pure volume. That, okay, in the case of the Vikings are, let's say, up 17-0, Penix will be throwing the ball. They can't run the ball to catch up. He will be throwing the ball, and he can also run in that scenario too. So if his line ends up looking like 275 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and runs for 30, you're still fine from a fantasy perspective, but that isn't a good game by Penix's standard. So I would probably play Penix. I am a little bit nervous about the offensive coordinator change in Detroit. I would like to see, just as a reaffirmation of this is a very, very good offense like we think it is, because it certainly didn't happen week 1. And I do think the Falcons lose pretty consequentially. So I'm going with Michael Penix as a start now.
Joe Bartel, RotoWire Fantasy Sports. Follow him online at JB Fantasy Sports. Joins us every Friday at 4:20 to take your fantasy football questions. And we'll ask him some general questions as well each and every Friday. He's joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. We will talk to you again next week, Joe. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Joe Bartel, joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. And speaking of Wendy's, for me, the only thing better than eating Wendy's is earning more Wendy's while I eat. Hello, Wendy's Rewards. The entire menu is up for grabs, too. Whatever food you order directly through the Wendy's app, Wendy's website, or a restaurant counts. For every $1 you spend, you'll earn 10 points. You can place your order for pickup or delivery with the Wendy's app or website, and you're good. That's literally all you have to do. Mobile and website orders add reward points automatically. Done and done. It's the best and so easy too. Steve Sparky Fifer with you, along with Charlie Usen. Now, normally at this segment of the show, we're going to talk about things that we missed on today's show, because normally we would be done at 5 o'clock today. However, we are at Camp Bar in the Third Ward, thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. So we're hanging out here to 5:30. Then the big old hunk of love, who's already standing by, hanging out with Peacock, he'll be coming up between 5:30 and 7. Charlie, I will let you in on something that I do not know. I have not looked, and I'm going to try to not look and be surprised at 5:30. But Drew Wagner just got into a group text and said he thinks this is his favorite lineup of the season. Tommy Wirtz's response to said group text is that they're finally starting to realize that Bryce Strang is like maybe the best player on the team. So I have not looked at this lineup. I don't know what this lineup looks like. I'm trying to hold off to hear Tommy at 5:30 to see what this lineup is. But I know this. There's no Anthony Siegler, so I will not have a meltdown when I hear the lineup coming up at 5:30 with our guy, Tommy
Well, then
Wirtz.
it can't be the best lineup if there's no Anthony Siegler. Come on.
Coming up next, we are going to do things that we missed. Going to cover a couple of random topics. Then at 5 o'clock, Charlie and I will talk about games in the NFC North coming up this weekend, and maybe predictions for that as well coming up at 5. But up next, things that we missed here in the first 3 hours of the show. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 157 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Camp Bar. Follow them on Instagram. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. As we broadcast live from Camp Bar in the Third Ward. Come on down, hang out with us, get ready for Brewers baseball as they get underway against the Cardinals coming up just after 7 o'clock. We will have the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, with our guy Tommy Wirtz coming up from 5:30 to 7 o'clock tonight. He'll get you the lineups. Hear from Pat Murphy from before today's game. Andrew Wagner will join him from American Family Field. Austin Herdane will be on as well from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Lots of good stuff. 5:30 to 7. Tommy is out here getting ready. So again, if you're looking for somewhere to stop, have a bite to eat, or have a couple of beverages before you head to the game, whatever the case may be, head on down here to the Camp Bar. We got our relief pitcher shirts. We've been handing those out throughout the day. We've got these cool 105.7 the fan bags that we're giving away as well. And then Sun Cruiser has a lot of stuff out here too. T-shirts, koozies, hats. If you want any of that, that also is out here to be had too. Just come on out, say hi, and you can choose from what you would like. All right, things that we missed on today's show, Charlie, we really didn't. I mean, I kind of backhanded the Badger-Alabama game, I guess, a little bit. So let's talk about the Badger-Alabama game just a little bit here before the top of the hour. What really, truly are expectations that are really fair at this point going into this game? I mean, the spread's over 20. So I think if you look at this game, and if they're still in this game, I don't know, at halftime, if they're within 3 to 7 points at halftime, I think I'm feeling pretty good as a Badger fan. If they're down 24-3 at halftime, then this is going the exact same way that I thought it was going to go, and it's going to be real ugly. My question is mainly, can they move the football against Alabama? Can the Badgers offense move the football up and down the field? That's where my question is. I think there's a chance maybe the Badgers defense might be able to get a punt here or there in this game. I just don't know if the Badgers offense can score.
I don't know if they can either, but I also feel like I have more confidence in their offense this year than I did last year, which I think is saying a lot going into this game, because it doesn't mean that this offense is going to go out there and put up 21 points against Alabama. I have no thought of that. But at the same time, the way that this offense has been able to move in the first couple of games of the season, I know they're not against good teams, but it's still important that it feels like they have an identity this year. And I think that offense, more so than last season, has an identity. They seem like that they're playing well through each other. Now, that's not going to translate against the number 18 team in the country as well as it does against a Middle Tennessee. But at the same time, I think it'll lend to this idea that you're bringing up where they could hang around for a half of this game. And I think that's enough to give at least some Badgers fans a little bit of hope as they watch this football team moving forward in the season. Before the season started, me and Mitch Thunder Nellis on this show, Wisconsin Sports Daily, did our season predictions for the Badgers. And I said, I can see them winning 6 games. I think if they can hang around for a half, 3/4 of this football game at least, they could get to 6 games this season. I think they'd make me more confident in them as well.
The other part about this is the fact that Alabama has to do something here, right? You could talk about where the pressure is in this game. All the pressure is on Alabama. Nobody thinks Wisconsin's going down to Tuscaloosa and winning this game. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think you could make a pretty decent case that if Alabama somehow blows this and loses this game to Wisconsin, they may blow that coach up and be like, yeah, we're done. We'll play with an interim coach the rest of the year. Clearly you're an idiot and can't get this done. I think that is something that nobody's really talking about, probably because nobody takes the Badgers seriously at this point, if we're being honest. But I think all of the pressure is on Alabama in this game. I don't think there's pressure on Danny O'Neal or Luke Fickell or anything like that, because everybody expects them to lose this football game.
There's absolutely no pressure on the Badgers in this football game. But if they do go out there and beat Alabama, what all of a sudden do you think of the Wisconsin Badgers? Like, we keep talking about what this means for Alabama if the Badgers go out and win. What does this mean for Wisconsin if they went out and won this game?
Oh, it stuns everybody. Now all of a sudden everybody talks about the Badgers actually doing something in the Big Ten this year. Then all of a sudden it becomes, hey, look, they are going to be a bowl team if they pull the shocker in this one against Alabama. If you just sit here and look at this, Alabama's defense this right now is ranked 37th. The Badgers' offense is ranked 71st. Passing defense for Alabama is 10th, Charlie. The Badgers' passing offense is 65th. Now, their rushing defense stinks. They're 102nd, so maybe the Badgers get some advantage there. Maybe they can move some people and do something on the ground. But the big deficiency, I think, is going to be passing that football with Danny O'Neal.
I mean, 71 and 65 honestly is not as bad as I was expecting it to be. Like that's actually pretty respectable for what I was expecting of this Badgers offense to look like this season. So you know what? Yeah, I don't have high expectations for Danny O'Neal in this passing offense, but I'm also not going to be surprised again if they find a way to hang around and put up a couple of touchdowns on the Alabama defense here.
Yeah, that's going to be something fun, too. All right, let's also talk about this Brewers-Cardinals series. Again, Tommy Wirtz out here getting ready for the leadoff show, part of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They got 3 against the Cardinals here. Now, they're going to see them again before the end of the season and in St. Louis. They'll have to go deal with them there. I think going into this series, I don't think it's any different for me. The Cubs already won today, 6-4 over Tampa Bay. So the Cubs are starting to try to close ground a little bit here on the Milwaukee Brewers. As we look at the updated standings right now, Brewers by 5 on the Cubs. So with a loss, the Cubs now will be within 4 games of the Milwaukee Brewers, which definitely still doesn't get me all that concerned at the end of the day that the Cubs would actually catch them. But I am intrigued by what's going on with Philadelphia. Philadelphia comes into this game 2 games out at this spot. Brewers having lost 3 straight, Philly having won 4 straight, Cubs having won 3 straight, Dodgers having won 4 straight. So everybody behind them now, Charlie, is starting to ramp up and play better. The Brewers trying to shake off that series sweep to the Rangers. I think you got to at least get 2 out of 3 against St. Louis this weekend here at American Family Field.
I agree with you. I think that sweep to the Rangers should be a little bit of a wake-up call for the rest of the season if you want that 1 seed. Now, do the Brewers really care about that 1 seed is what we have to ask ourselves. And I would say they do. It seems like they have for the majority of the season here. But the way they've played this last couple weeks seems like it's more to keep guys healthy than to worry about that 1 seed, which I don't know if that's the worst approach. I would just hope that they get that 1 seed and you get a free first-round bye, free win. It's easy.
Correct. And for me, I think that 1 seed can be good, and obviously it can be bad. The only reason it's bad is you get that bye, and if you're playing well, that slows everything down, right? That stops momentum, and then you have to pick up again. Now, I had the exact same sentiment at the All-Star break that would the Brewers be able to come out of the All-Star break and be as good as they were prior to the All-Star break, and lo and behold, they came out better after the All-Star break than they were before. So maybe that break would help the Brewers. But there is a part of me that wouldn't be all that mad if they ended up not having that bye and ended up having to play there in the wild card round.
I get it, and I understand, again, wanting to keep that momentum going. But like you just mentioned, they came out of that All-Star break a completely new team. It felt like they were at the beginning of the season. Everybody had fresh legs. Everybody was ready to go, and they won a ton of baseball games. And I think what we've seen from this Brewers team the last couple of weeks is that they are starting to slow down. They're starting to tire out a little bit, and I think it would be good to get those fresh legs back underneath this team. I know that I have faith more so in this Brewers team than I have in the past, and that no matter what, if they do have to end up playing in the first round, I'm still going to expect them to win that series. I'm not all of a sudden going to freak out because they have to play a first-round series, but I'd be a lot more comfortable if they didn't have to.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. One other thing I want to bring up here before we get to looking around the NFC North and the NFC side of things and the games and the matchups coming up this weekend. Some news out of the WWE. Saying that WrestleMania 43, they're going to take that to Saudi Arabia in 2027.
All right.
That is crazy to me.
Do you think there's
that
a big
thing is going to
WWE
Saudi
fan
Arabia
base out there, or is it just money?
What did you say?
You think they got a WWE fan base out there, or is it just money?
Oh, it's got to be just money. It's WWE has been hosting events in Saudi Arabia since 2018 when the promotion in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia agreed to a $1 billion deal that would see the company run multiple shows in the country over the next 10 years. Next year's Royal Rumble will be the first of the big 4 pay-per-view events to take place in Saudi Arabia. WrestleMania 42, which is coming up next April, will be in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium.
All right. I mean, again, that's a lot of money to turn down, man. I'd go do that for that much money, sure.
You know there's going to be backlash on that one, I would assume. I would assume that there is going to be backlash on the WWE for doing that. But either way, like you said, it's all about the money at the end of the day. So that is what rules the world. Take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll look ahead to the NFC North slate. And we got to talk about Charlie's Bears. And do they have any chance of winning a football game this year? No, I'm just joking. But will they win this weekend? Baseball calls for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Plus, each Sun Cruiser is only 100 calories, 4.5% alcohol, making it perfect for anywhere your watch party takes you. Crack one open today and let the good times cruise Milwaukee. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Camp Bar in the Third Ward. Check them out on Instagram.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
All right, here we go. Bonus coverage of Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Camp Bar, 3rd Ward. Come on out, say hi. Brought to you by Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. 100 calories. That's all we're talking about here, and they are delicious. Try a Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea today. Tommy Wirtz is out here. He'll be taking over from 5:30 to 7 with the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Charlie Usen working some overtime back there in the studio, producing all the way up to 7 o'clock tonight. Going to turn our attention to the National Football League, and specifically the NFC North. We talked about the Packers game earlier today and have been all day long here on a Green and Gold Friday on the Fan. So talking about that, I want to look ahead to this weekend's games. We talked about Alabama, Wisconsin. Let's now look at the NFC North. Let's start with the game that doesn't involve Charlie Usen, Chicago Charlie, nearly as much. Looking at the Potawatomi Sportsbook right now, Atlanta, 2.5 point favorites against the Carolina Panthers. Who cares about that one? Not I, right? There are certain games that mean nothing. The game that does mean something, on the other hand, we start looking around at what's going on, is the Bears and the Lions. That's the game Charlie wants to talk about. Lions favored in this one by 6 points at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Over under in this one, 46.5 points. I don't know, man. Like, I think 6 points is a lot of points in this game. Based on how Detroit looked, based on their new coordinators, and again, we expected a half a step back or more with these new coordinators, based on what the Bears looked like in their first week game as well. I think this is going to be a lot closer than 6 points. I don't know if the Bears win necessarily in Detroit, but privately, kind of hoping in a weird way that they upset the Lions, because Detroit is going to lose their mind if they lose to Caleb Williams in Chicago. Then the conversation in Detroit is going to be like, well, that was our run. Now for the rest of our lives, we're going to suck again. Like that, they are just going to go hit rock bottom if the Chicago Bears beat them. So I'm kind of hoping for that, just to see what that would happen to Detroit. And now I know the opposite effect of that is then I got to listen to the fools on the score tell me about how great the Bears are because they beat the Detroit Lions. And see, you're not that good, Green Bay.
You'll have to
we
listen
beat
to
them
the
too.
fools
They
here
just aren't
too,
that good. They stink.
I'm going to say the same thing. So you'll have to listen to it here on the station,
Oh.
So it'll be fine. You'll have fun.
Can't I just send you to the score for a week to get rid of you, and then you can come back after that maybe?
I'm still going to keep. I'd do it more if you sent me to the score. They'd give
You
me
do it more.
They'd give me more ways to do annoy you, Sparky.
Just poking and prodding the bear. That's all you do. All right. So what are your thoughts in this game going into this one? Because to be honest with you, I think it's a complete coin flip game at this point.
I think it's really going to come down to one of two things. Are the Lions going to be mad enough about what happened last week where they got embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers, or is Ben Johnson going to want this game more than anybody else on that field because he wants to prove that he can be an NFL head coach against the team that he came up with and brought to the top of the league, and now he's going to prove that it was him, that he is on the Chicago Bears team, and they have to be better after that first game. And I think that is probably going to prevail more so than the Lions being angry about losing to the Green Bay Packers in week one or getting beat that bad by the Green Bay Packers in week one. I think Caleb Williams is going to come into this week with a lot to prove himself after a shaky first week where he had some really good moments and then also some really bad moments. And he's going to want to clean that up a little bit too. I think the Bears are just going to have a bigger chip on their shoulder in this game, and that's going to lead to them winning this game as well.
I think if you look at this football game, I think there's far more pressure on Detroit than there is Chicago. Mainly because, not that the Bears fans don't want their team to win, and not because everybody doesn't have all eyes on Caleb Williams over the Go Long TD article before week one, but more so because of how good Detroit has been the last couple of years, because of the coordinator switch, seeing if Jared Goff regresses back to what Jared Goff was previously. I think that's part of the reason why there is going to be some pressure added here. Now, that Bears defense, y'all were trying to sell me, was going to be a pretty good defense this year. I don't know if I'm even at that point of thinking they're going to be a pretty good defense at this point. Now, if they slow down Detroit, fine. But for me, I want to see what Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery do in this game. If the Bears defense slows them down, the Bears can win this football game. That's to me, that's what it's all about, because that's what happened with Green Bay. They slowed down the Lions rushing attack, and then you put it on Jared Goff and that wide receiving core and let their defenders pin their ears back and go. That changed the course of the game. If on that first drive or two, you see the Bears averaging the Lions averaging 4.5, 5 yards a carry, it's going to be a long day for the Chicago Bears.
Well, and the other thing for the Bears is that they're getting Jalen Johnson, their all-pro cornerback, back in this week. At least he said he'll be good to go. We'll see what happens leading up to then. But I think that, again, can go one of two ways for the Chicago Bears defense. Are you going to be more aggressive up front with your front seven because you have that extra adage of a all-pro cornerback behind you? Or are you going to loosen up a little bit and say, you know what? Yeah, get on the ground a little bit, but you're not going to get anything through the air, and we're just going to outpace you on the other side of the ball since you don't have your pacing down like you did last season, and kind of steal the momentum of the game that way, which I would say is probably more so how the Bears would play this after watching that week one and how tired that front seven got after one half of football. So you probably want to save their legs a little bit and try to find a way to give them a little bit more breath because you have a stronger secondary behind you now, and hope that, again, Ben Johnson has a better game plan going up against this Lions team with that offense, and that they can give you a little bit of a breath too.
The other game in the division that people will be watching will be this Vikings game. That's Sunday night football. I'm not quite sure how this ended up on Sunday night, if we're being honest. Atlanta at Minnesota. There definitely is some interest here with Penix Jr. at quarterback for Atlanta, J.J. McCarthy at quarterback for the Vikings, a couple of young future stud quarterbacks possibly in the National Football League. I don't think it's going to draw a whole bunch of eyes necessarily to the game, but I think still from a Packer fan perspective, you Wiley want to see, is it Detroit and us, or is it Detroit, Minnesota and us, like it was last year when Sam Darnold was the quarterback? In week one, McCarthy rallies back to be the Bears team that we don't know if it's going to be good or not, right? I mean, the Bears could win 4 games for all we know right now, or they could win 9. I have no idea. This now will be another tell sign of how good Minnesota is. I think if Minnesota takes care of business, they beat the Atlanta Falcons, then you might start looking at the Vikings going, okay, it looks like it's going to be a 3-horse race here in the NFC North. Big game, I think, for the Minnesota Vikings as far as where they are at right now, because if the Falcons win that game on prime time and they're 1-1, I think then you expose that maybe the Vikings aren't going to be that team from last year.
Yeah, I don't really know how you don't put Philadelphia, Kansas City on Sunday night. Like, that feels like the biggest game. That's a Super Bowl rematch. I think Atlanta and Minnesota is probably the next most interesting game on Sunday after that, though. And I think when you look at Atlanta's offense and just the ceiling that group has, I'm really glad you asked that Michael Penix question to Joe Bartel earlier, because I have the same kind of question. It's Dak Prescott or Michael Penix or Drake May too. I think right now I have Drake May in my lineup. I'm thinking about putting Michael Penix in there. Drake May just has the legs. That's what sells me a little bit on him.
But the Giants against Prescott, that's nothing to write home about either. I mean, I wouldn't be scared of starting Prescott against them.
I started Prescott last week, though, with the same mentality. And I know that was the Eagles. I know that's a different matchup, but I just felt like that what I saw from that Dallas offense seems like they're still leaning more towards the run. And I don't know if I like that.
And the other thing is, if you look at the over-unders in this thing, Falcons-Vikings, that over-under is 44.5 according to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Then if you look at the Patriots game, that's the other game you're talking about, that's 43.5. That Giants-Cowboys game is 44.5. So based on Potawatomi, these games are all going to be relatively closer in scoring. Now, let's say you're talking about Eagles and Chiefs that you brought up.
Yep.
That over-under, Charlie, is 47.
I'm surprised it's that high. I mean,
that is high.
Kansas City's offense didn't really look all that exciting, and they're going to be down a wide receiver after Travis Kelce ran him over in their last game, and Xavier Worthy. I mean, that's kind of crazy that they expect it to be that high, honestly. I feel like that one's going to be more of a defensive battle than people expect it to be.
So who do you take here in this Falcons-Vikings game? That game right now, Vikings favored by 3.5. They're the home team, again, coming up on Sunday night. I think I take the Falcons in this one.
I want to say the Falcons, but after watching this past Monday night, how good of a coach O'Connell is in Minnesota, I just can never count him out. I feel like the game plans that he comes up with and the way he's able to adjust at halftime is better than every other coach in the NFL right now. I'm going with the Vikings at home.
Before we get to another timeout, I want to get you updated on something else that happened in the world of sports that we missed, on things that we missed. Does that make any sense? Okay. Giannis and Turkey didn't go so well. Turkey took out Greece today in Eurobasket, 94-68. But wait, Giannis had 12 points, 12 boards, 4 turnovers, and an offensive charge in the game. They beat the living crap out of him based on what I've been reading in the last commercial break.
I think that's probably should be the game plan for any team going up against a Greece team, is just make sure basically anybody else gets a shot in that game besides Giannis.
He's talked about that before, Giannis has, that the international game is way, way more physical than what the NBA is, and it's a different way of playing basketball, overseas in Europe than it is here in the States in the NBA. It's an easier game for Giannis because it allows him to physically be that dominant figure and run over dudes and bully ball guys. And over there, you don't get to bully ball guys over there. And that takes away from his game a little bit, I think, Charlie.
Well, and again, especially when the teammates that are besides you are also all NBA players, and you're playing with guys that just play in Greece. And I'm not saying they're not great basketball players. They could probably beat me in a one-on-one any given day.
No, never.
I think
no,
so, Sparky. I think so.
No.
But they are not NBA caliber players, not all of them at least. And I think that kind of slows people down when you are just Giannis and the whole team has their focus on you and everybody else has to play. And Turkey maybe has 2 to 3 other players that are just better than your teammates. It's going to end in games like this.
Yes, Charlie, using Sparky Fifer out here at Camp Bar in the 3rd Ward, brought to you by Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Come on out, hang out. A lot of people out here getting ready to go to the Brewers game. That game gets underway just after 7 o'clock. And, of course, Tommy Wirtz is out here already prepping and getting ready for his show. The leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, comes up from 5:30 to 7 here from Pat Murphy. We'll also hear from our guy, Drew Wagner, coming up. That'll be fun. Austin Herdenia from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He'll give you his parlay of the night. And if you have not been following along all year, shame on you, because you very well could have made yourself a bunch of money between the start of the year and now with Austin Herdenia. Tommy Wirtz has been telling anybody that would listen to just please listen. I've told people to go sit in the Potawatomi Hotel Casino parking garage, listen to him make his parlay, write it down, run inside, because they have the kiosk there right there as you get inside the garage, and make the wager right there. And then if you don't want to hang out at Potto, that's fine. Get back in your car and move on kind of with the rest of your day at that point. That would be my suggestion. Hey, also, I wanted to point out something else out. Coming up September 22nd, so that is a week from Monday, correct? A week from Monday is September 22nd?
I believe so. You're making me do like math. Yeah.
No, because the 15th is Monday. So, yeah. So, the 22nd. Yeah. So, coming up on September 22nd, I'm going to be hanging out at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, doing some in-game trivia and the whole deal as Detroit takes on Baltimore for Monday Night Football. So, if you want to come hang out, watch the game with me, we'll have a bunch of sports memorabilia to give away, autograph stuff to give away, all kinds of fan swag to give away too. So come hang out. We did this once before. If you remember correctly, it was Mason Crosby and myself. We were down there during the draft, and Potawatomi had a good time with it. Thought it was a lot of fun. So we're going to do it for Monday Night Football coming up on Monday night, the 22nd. Again, it's going to be a great game, Detroit and Baltimore for that one. Now, this is the thing about a sports book. Like we talk about it, like if you were to go to Vegas or something, you're going to have jerseys of everybody. I would imagine, and I'm going to guess this. We'll see. We'll do this guessing game again on Monday, the 22nd. I think the majority of fans will be more Lions fans than any other jersey on that Monday night, which I'm expecting to be pretty packed at this point on Monday night, the 22nd. That's going to be a great game. Everybody's going to want in. There are Baltimore fans in this area, though. Like, I know like 2 or 3 Baltimore fans in the area.
Baltimore fans in this area, more than you would think. I have a couple people that I work with at the brewery that are Baltimore fans. I would say there's a good 4 people that are Baltimore fans.
Really?
2 of them, their family or they are from Baltimore, so that changes things a little bit.
Makes sense.
But the other 2 from Wisconsin, they're fans. I don't get it.
My kid's a Falcons fan, so
and I'm
again,
a Bears
that was
fan,
because
so, yeah.
that was because of Madden. Right.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I mean, who knows how everybody becomes fans. All right, take a quick time out. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Camp Bar. Thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Got T-shirts, hats, koozies, got some fan swag as well, whether it be T-shirts, bags, pop sockets for your phone, stress balls, all that going on here at Camp Bar in the 3rd Ward. Come on down, say hi. Follow Camp Bar on Instagram. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here at Camp Bar in the 3rd Ward, hanging out with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz, oh, almost got him a smile. Almost saw his teeth. It was also thick.
You'll never get me to smile ever again.
Again. Tommy Wirtz hanging out here. Now it's just going to be a challenge. Now I'm just going to work really hard. I'll have Peacock show you his belly or something before we get out of here. See ya. There you go. I got it.
Different ways with that. That was getting scary. Everyone in the bar was about to leave, and you finished with stomach at least.
Oh my goodness. So Tommy Wirtz is out here getting ready for the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He'll take it from 5:30 to 7. I have not seen this lineup. You and Drew Widener are going back and forth, and I told Charlie I'm not looking.
Okay.
But Drew Widener said it's his favorite lineup. You said they're finally respecting Bryce Terang. So I'm excited. And like I told Charlie, hey, no Siegler. I'm good. I'm happy. Life is fine. I will not be mad.
Well, and you can do a little bit of, context clues that if I'm going to agree, it's also my favorite lineup. Someone
Bowers is playing.
Someone has to be in there for Milwaukee. But yeah, Bryce Terang in the lineup. I mean, the guy's just been unconscious since the trade deadline, obviously.
Yep.
Do you know we did the math on it that his last 37 games, if he kept up the same pace, you're talking about a guy who's hitting 340 and hitting 52 home runs since that time frame right there. 37 games. That's not nothing, Sparky.
I've said this before, and I will say it again. Want to know where all this power is coming from. That's all I'm saying. I'm curious. I just want to know. I want to know because if this is real, my guy Tommy might get his wish and Bryce Terang might be here a long time. If it's real. Now, next year he hits 8, then we're back to square one again and he's not going to be here. Then it's going to be over. But if Bryce Terang puts up 20 and starts hitting 285 to 300, maybe the Brewers still let him go because they can't afford him at that point. But then there's a legitimate case of platinum glove defender, 20 home runs, hits around 300. I mean, those guys do not grow on trees in Major League Baseball, especially at that position at second base.
No, and everyone was trying to find a replacement for Willy Adames at shortstop. They might have had it in the growth of the progression of Bryce Terang at second base, right? And on top of that, too, this is also happening during the same season in which everyone pretty much feels like they were fed up with the Garrett Mitchell experience too, right? And Garrett Mitchell had this high-end 30-30 potential at his peak, right? Yep. He had some pop, and he's fast. And really it was overlooked from Bryce Terang that he's never going to develop into that power threat that he has been. But now the Brewers have found Garrett Mitchell and Willy Adames in the same player somehow since the trade deadline.
See, and that is – I know it's a green and gold Friday, whatever else, but I hate to break it to you. We're in Brewer stuff now until 7 9. So if you're all looking for Packers stuff, too bad. You're stuck. It's Brewer stuff now going up to Cardinals baseball because it's me and Tommy, so we're going to talk Brewers. That's the thing, though, that I think people that don't want to listen to you and that want to dog on Tommy Words and want to talk bad about Tommy Words. Oh, all this love about the prospects until they get here and do something. Who cares about his stupid prospects? Who cares if they have the number 1 farm system, Sparky? Tommy's all hyped up. I've seen this for years, and we never win a damn World Series. We don't even get to a World Series. Tommy doesn't know that. He doesn't know how good these guys are going to be.
Practice from tuning out my haters after you just made all that sentence right there, right? Yeah, that's why iron sharpens iron on the
That's right. Iron workers, baby.
Yeah.
That's right, the iron workers. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, though, because Garrett Mitchell was a guy. Now, what the people don't realize is, maybe you do, but he was never a Mane type prospect. He was never a Pena type prospect. Garrett Mitchell was never a top of baseball prospect.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hope because of, being, I think he was a first-round pick, right?
He was a
Because he was a first-round pick out of UCLA.
2020.
Correct. Coming out of UCLA, college player, and here we go, we're going to see something. And he's giving you flashes, and you're like, damn, if he can just stay healthy. And he hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't know what this offseason looks like because I don't think he has any value because he's been hurt. But at the same point, what then does that mean for next season? Like, is he going to be in Nashville next season based on how this sets up, or is somebody moving to the infield like we've talked about previously?
Well, and I guess the only guy, and by someone you mean Isaac Collins, right? I don't know who else would have that flexibility to go from the outfield to the infield.
Sal.
Listen, you're the guy who's like, get Caleb Durbin out of my infield because he's too short, and then now you want Sal Frelick to play.
Caleb Durbin can't hit. Sal Frelick should be your leadoff hitter for the next decade.
Caleb Durbin hits a lot better than you give him credit for, I think. You do know that he is the best third baseman in the division by WAR standards.
Yes, we've said that on this show. We went over it all. That's fine.
He's a great
better than the East, too. Better than anybody in the East as well at third base.
He's more than serviceable at the option of
serviceable.
Third base. Well, it's a lot better than platooning him with Anthony Siegler, isn't it?
But Sal Frelick could play every day.
So could Isaac Collins in this instance, and he's a switch hitter.
Okay, I got
too,
you.
Right?
I've got you. Okay. Are you ready, Charlie? Here we go.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's right.
Make me smile and start talking sports.
It's happening right now. So Andrew Vaughn at first base, if we believe in Andrew Vaughn.
Yep.
Second base is going to be Sal Frelick. Shortstop is going to be Terang. Isaac Collins at third base, right? And then in the outfield, you still have Yelich, Churio,
Joey Ortiz,
and
now?
Garrett Mitchell.
What starting pitcher is Jake Bauers going to be next year?
Starting pitcher?
Yeah, he's got to be
Jake Bauers
another
isn't going to be in Milwaukee. Get out of here.
Vinny
he'll
Capra's
sign a
coming back for
Supermax?
DH?
Yeah, Vinny Capra. That would be a great
No.
one. We should bring Vinny Capra.
No.
Yeah. I like this idea. Let's just get all the bad ideas out first, right before my show that you want people to listen to and talk about Milwaukee Brewers baseball. And let's just start putting all these guys back on. You know what they should do? They should start taking Eric Fetty reps at third base. That might help.
Eric Fetty shouldn't be on the damn team. I don't even know why Eric Fetty's on the team. So this is funny, too. So I'm out yesterday watching my kid at practice.
Yeah.
Pat Murphy's there, right? Because his kid plays in the same organization.
Oh, okay.
So the one mom is like, hey, you go talk to Pat Murphy. I'm like, I don't think that's going to work out very well. I don't think that's a good idea. The last time I talked to Pat Murphy was at my kid was at the Pat Murphy baseball camp, right? And we were having a good conversation. And then I was like, I'm Sparky. Oh, gone. See ya. That was the end of the conversation.
You almost got me to smile.
I don't feel like this is going to be such a good idea. She's like, well, what? You don't say nice things about Pat on the air. He's such a nice guy. I was like, yeah, but he makes a bunch of idiotic decisions from time to time. He is a nice guy. And she's like what? I'm like, this, I swear to God, true story. She's like what? What do you mean? I'm like, Anthony Siegler sucks, and he's been playing him for like 2 months. She's like, yeah, but they've been winning games, so who cares if he's playing them? They're winning. Why are you being so upset about that for? And this was going back and forth. I was like, okay, I'm done. I said, just trust me. He doesn't want to talk to me at this point. He has no interest. Your boy, Caleb Durbin, that you were talking about,
yeah,
I believe you called him serviceable. Serviceable in August hit 255. That's serviceable by MLB standards. His on-base percentage was a stellar 291, 29%.
What was Jackson Churio's first 50 games of the year? Because I bet you it's pretty close to that. Also,
why are we talking about Jackson Churio for? We're talking about Caleb Durbin. Why are you trying to switch the topic?
All right, continue.
Okay. All right. So now we get to the month of September.
Yeah.
Right now.
20%.
Now hitting 241 in the month of September. But the on-base percentage has gone up to 333. Slugging has dropped off to 345.
Okay, which one would you rather have? A guy who gets on base more or a guy who has a better batting average?
I want Isaac Collins in the infield or Sal Frelick in the infield. And I want Caleb Durbin to be a utility player off the bench that fills in. I don't want any more Joey Ortiz's offensive nightmares. And I'd want Bryce Terang at shortstop. Now, again, none of this matters until the offseason and next year. Right now, that's not going to happen, right? Ortiz and Terang up the middle. That is what it is. We still don't know what's happening in the outfield, who's playing, who's not playing in the playoffs. We still don't know what's happening at first base and DH.
We know all these answers.
We do?
I'm pretty confident on what the team's going to look like.
Okay, fair enough. Tommy Wirtz is going to tell you all of the answers that you need to know from the Milwaukee Brewers, including the starting lineup that apparently is amazing. And you'll hear from Pat Murphy, Andrew Wagner of Forbes Sports, Austin Herdania from the Potawatomi Sportsbook, all out here at what's the name of this place? Camp Bar on Instagram. Follow them on Instagram. Camp Bar, Third Ward, Sun Cruiser, vodka, iced teas. Come out, have a couple of those. 100 calories. Have a few while you're out here.
Hammered on them right now after this show.
Maybe.
Yeah. Shoulder shrug got me. And Sparky feeling himself.
See that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
A lot of smiling Tommy. Now we're going. Tommy Wirtz coming up next, 5:30 to 7. Come on out. Say I hang out. We got all kinds of fan swag, Sun Cruiser swag as well. I'll talk to you next. Coming up on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Toodles.